The following video presentation is a production of RDK 3000 TriStar Video Studio Productions, a division of RDK 3000 TriStar, CR, 2025, EY 1025, RDK.SP. Please be advised that any sensitive and distressing subjects being requested are discouraged due to such acts after concerns of violence, dangerous acts, and due to respect. As those who request subjective scenes in question result in entire video presentation to be unlisted or age restricted, otherwise we reject the topic, including attacks on vulnerable including furries in diapers. Unless otherwise stated, animation, story and plot is a work of fiction, and based in Kb.P 224 and differs from plot in Kanbor Galaxy, as events, places, persons, and subjects are those of fictional type or are used in a fictitious manner. Websites and social handles mentioned are those of fiction unless otherwise stated. This is an RDK 3000 TriStar television service programming notice for this evening's programming. I am Mark-E Cryptor, Mark Alito Star from Studio RDE. Tonight's edition of VWG2N to be preempted as per discretion from RDK Kb.SP producers. This is since 1455 RDK ELC. Alito News 24 Deck Mill has updated the programming schedule for the evening as tonight's 24 EH to be a special edition on the preview of Alito Prom 2025. EY 1025 in action on final day of Trony Prom 2025, EY 1025, TDE 2002, and TS 1000.8 as we to preempt tonight's VWGT. This also for 2-hour extended version of RDK 3000 TriStar Today Prime. I am Mark-E Cryptor signing off. RDK 3000 TriStar Today Blitz is up next after break.
Ringo Silverstar and Brittany Zaniel, 24 EH, tonight at 6 o'clock ELC on the Little News 24.
Alongside the TDE Sorcerer 24 Kanbor Express, News KBTS, 3 o'clock PM Elite City Alito News 24 Live Jarrett Raystar Alito Prom 2025. Get into the kiss on first with the latest keys dropping in Canvas alongside the Tonis as Kevin will launch the almost Steve Alito Kanbor Restaurant Express. Midnight visit BTS 3 o'clock PM Elite City on Alito News 24 Dead. This Thursday morning is Tracks Game Adventure Series of Jets based on Adventures for it's wrestling held down Blitz and exploring the world.
Hey Red, I don't believe about me going to the amazing digital circuits
The
for
patio
finding
is now open
or
at
something
Altroni
like
Pizza.
finding
This is to host the watch party of 1 million tacos, 24 hours, 2 Mars Duna Tims of Rio Auto Sport event with amazing deals for the racing fans.
Get the latest in the news, Trex style, from the power of Trex Vision 8, bringing the latest in today's news and more, with host Mark Star Trex. Trex 8 News Asylum Cast, later today at 1700 hours RDK ELC on RDK TV service.
Where the news never sleeps, with hosts Ringo Silverstar and Brittany Zaniels, 24 EH.
24 Elitopian hours Silumcast, tonight at 1800 RDK ELC on RDK 3000 TriStar television service. Mark Alito Altronistar here. The patio is now open at Altroni Pizza. This is we to host a watch party of 1 million trockets, 24 hour, 2 Maz Duna Tims of Rio Auto Sport event next weekend, with amazing deals for the racing fan. 100 Tronic Diamond Street Elite City. 5523 Quad 4s Quad 4s.
Lion Jared Raystar here. Elito Prom 2025, EY1025 is this Sunday on 1st of June. Theme is tropical. This is You Have Missed Omega Costa. This is Kevin Elito Aero to launch the all-new Costa Elito Tropical Restaurant at the EPC this Friday.
This in addition, watch party of 24 Maz Dunat Tims of Ry.E next weekend at the Blitz. Plus, esports and ELG Game Jam and Kb.SDY with matches resuming tomorrow, one of it held at EDA. Only at Elito Plaza Center, 100 KanborZeven Street West Elite City.
This is RDK 3000 TriStar Today Blitz Edition. I am Ry.E Cryptor, Mark Elitastar over at RDK 3000 TriStar RDK Newsline News Center, Studio Ry.E at the RDK TSR main headquarters at Elito Square in Elite City, Federal District, Elitopia. Today is Sunday, May 25th, 2025, Quad Des Epsilon 2030 Y1025 ED144. Latest at 1500 hours RDK ELC.
Savage, why is the television at Raptor Tuning tuned to RDK 3000 TriStar television service on Channel 5?
Dewey, this due to segment on the tour of the track we must note after searching the one online, at 3:30, this as one fellow from RDK 3000 TriStar to be doing a tour of the track from his car, as Elito Speed to do its own in tomorrow's airing. This as the esports and sim racing in the prior day by sim racing for the Blitz EREV Sim Racing ERV Tour 2025, the virtual replica gets competed at. Kraken, being independent, won the sim racing event in which we watched while learning of the track.
Two Maz Dunat Tims of Ry.E to be held at the initial day of Sakanisal Ry.E65, May 31st, at the new track at Ry.E Speedway in Ry.E City. At 1400 hours RDK ELC, in which we to showcase the track mentioned in an exclusive look, conducted by Daniel AKT Cryptor being deck, 12 Trini Graphuit, 3 Penqual Hell, 6.1 km track at half past.
This over 6,700 feet in distance, 3.8 miles, double the length of track near Axidal, and Savage City used by Relent Speedsters.
Chris K. Cryptor, Zaker, Chris Kaistar is on assignment for segment later this hour, he to co-host at Elito Plaza Center during RDK TSRT Prime tonight. We begin with the top story from Altronic City as it's the final day of Troni Prom Neotrokant 1000.8, TDE 2002, 2025, EY1025 being held at Troni Plex Center in Altronic City. Tronica after event gets extended from 0's day being last Tuesday 20th to 5's day being today after popular demand and record turnout.
This is there is also to be an event to be held on June 1st, 2025. This related to Pride Month as June 2025. Zy 1025 is Pride Month to support the 2S LGBTQIA+ community. Whoa. Oh my god. Oh my god. Some gamer horn blaring. As I am close to entrance at Alito Digi Arena as I check time. 15:39 and 44. In the sources, the esports match gamer battle in Altverse of Moose and Vitality of IEM Doll 25 is confirmed now in progress.
Chris K. Crypter, I have to interrupt to announce the event that is now in progress since 15:39 RDK ELC and 44 seconds. This explains the gamer horn blaring at the EDA following by phase at 15:39 and 31 as the esports match gamer battle has since started. This is Moose takes on against Vitality in the IEM DAL 25 Grand Finals in Map 1 as I and Derek v Crypter check VWGT. The VWGT cast has started at 15:39 and 44. To repeat, VWGT cast start at 15:39 and 44. We learn from Arrow, the VWGT cast to last at least 2 to 3 rounds, maybe 4. As always, we to monitor the VWGT cast. Halftime after round 12 ETA between 1600 hours and 1610 is VWGT cast to end around 1548 to 1550, then showcase at times. This is Zaylin also said that not only the person gets punished, the firm responsible in which DELCA severs ties on day after new KanborZeven Productions KanborBreeze video billboard ad system gets punished with raid and seizure by Kanbor police in which occurred yesterday at 1700 hours KBTS being 0800 RDK ELC, 50.0 EMT, 1200 TRX, Saturday, May 24th, 2025, Ry.E dies Epsilon 23rd, EY 1025, ED 143, Spark loaded 24th Gumbalin Kb.P 20. As per order by Zaylin Relixina in behalf of KanborD Courts, in addition to stern order by Tronic Diamond Courts in Altronic City in request to KanborDian Court, in abuse to Code T Act of abuse of KanborZeven Dozenal and Tronic Diamond alternate timekeeping policies. At start of the new KanborZeven Productions as the facility to be demolished but to be done by machinery by bulldozers and crane, as they cannot blow it up despite order by Zaylin. To start in the week ahead due to establishment very close to RDK 3000 TriStar KanborD Unit Division Center HQ and Gonzoni Global Headquarters. This as it is approaching 1548 RDK ELC. This is for some reason, the VWGT cast on VWGT on the esports match gamer battle in Altverse of IEM DAL 25, Vitality vs Moose, is still in progress. As we learn, this is we will be in touch of Avero, Elitotronics Telemedia, Petrazi DZ Trinity, ABM, INMC and Elito GRESP, on the status of the VWGT cast, the show, and if the hosts gets assigned to cover for event on VWGT. It has been since over 4 rounds as they say would have go back to the hosts after 3 to 4 rounds, as of this moment as I monitor the feed from R86/64 studios being distributed by RDK 3000 TriStar for RDK GRESP main, round 5, it has since ended, as Vitality makes a map point, as the Moose lead was cut by 3-2 in favor of Moose as Vitality leads the series 2-0, in best of 5 in Counter-Strike 2, going into round 6. We will stay on top of it and pass you any programming notices should it warrant, as Chris K. Crypter has been reassigned to Studio RDE as he is beside me.
I am Chris K. Crypter. Jakur, Chris Kystar, joining in. This is the RDK TSRT newscast may be extended and either return back to VWGT immediately after VWGT cast end, but if it ends before 16:15, then the RDK TSRT Silimcast to end after 16:15. Or we would never return to VWGT and conclude the Silimcast.
This starting at 0:30, we will feature the RDK Archive Flashback Encore of Swinky Prom 2010 from the fellows from our former affiliate ZMA News, in which Swinky Media Arts gets disbanded since 2016 after Swink Purge.
Then at 0100, we will feature another RDK Archive Flashback Encore of Elite City Prom 2020. EY 1020 in the ELN 24 special back then, in which is now known as Elito News 24 Deck Mill, as the prom event in Elite City for 2025. EY 1025 to enter the 6th year. Stand by for a programming alert.
We have to pass you a programming alert. VWGT episode needs to conclude as per discretion by Arrow, as we have this memo coming into RDK Newsline, as the esports match gamer battle of Vitality of Muz and Altverse of IEM DAL 25 gets so popular and trending today. This warrants VWGT hosts to be reassigned to cover in relation to the subject of the matter, as the VWGT Silimcast to be switched to the sister network Silimcast of Elito GRESP, as the feed from R8664 to be switched to the source feed at halftime after round 12. This is RDK 3000 TriStar today to be extended by 60 minutes as a result of this.
To repeat, the VWGT cast of the said match becomes Elito GRESP broadcast as the feed gets switched. However, use the feed from R8664 Studios, but to switch to the source feed at halftime of map 1 after round 12. This due to popularity of the match, as VWGT hosts has been reassigned to cover for subject in relation to it, including live blogs, reports on watch party and such as RDK TSRT to be extended by an hour to cover the 1600 hours RDK ELC hour time block. VWG2N to be pre-empty for tonight due to the timing of the match. However, RDK TV Silimcast of it was already pre-empty due to 24EH special and evening programming.
This is we to be taking a programming break, as we to see you for hour 2 of RDK 3000 TriStar today after the break. I am Mark.E Cryptor.
And I am Chris K. Crypto, signing off, as we to be back after the break.
Trex style, from the power of Trex Vision 8, bringing the latest in today's news and more, with host Mark Star Trex 8 News Asylum Cast, later today at 1700 hours RDK DLC on RDK TV service.
Where the news never sleeps, with hosts Ringo Silvastar and Brittany Zaniels, 24EA.
24 Elitopian hours Silumcast. Tonight at 1800 RDK ELC on RDK 3000 TriStar television service. Mark Alito Alf Tronistar here. This is RDK 3000 TriStar today. I am Chris K. Crypter.
And I am Mark E. Crypter, broadcasting live and direct from RDK 3000 TriStar RDK Newsline News Center over at RDK 3000 TriStar Main HQ in Elite City, Federal District, Elitopia.
We are powered up always on all RDK networks, television, radio, streaming and more. The latest at this hour.
We welcome to the viewers on the Lito News 24 Deck Mill and Trex Vision 8 in the Asylum Cast.
We must begin with a programming alert notice off the top. For those just tuning in on whatever happened to VWGT or why RDK TSRT gets extended.
VWGT episode needs to conclude as per discretion by Arrow, as we have this memo coming into RDK Newsline, as the esports match gamer battle of vitality of Moose and Altverse of IEM DAL 25 gets so popular and trending today. This warrants VWGT hosts to be reassigned to cover in relation to the subject of the matter, as the VWGT Asylum Cast to be switched to the sister network Asylum Cast of Elito GRESP, as the feed from R8664 to be switched to the source feed at halftime after round 12. This is RDK 3000 TriStar today to be extended by 60 minutes as a result of this.
To repeat, the VWGT cast of the said match becomes Elito GRESP broadcast as the feed gets switched. However, use the feed from R8664 Studios but to switch to the source feed at halftime of map 1 after round 12. This due to popularity of the match, as VWGT hosts has been reassigned to cover for subject in relation to it, including live blog, reports on watch party and such as RDK TSRT to be extended by an hour to cover the 1600 hours RDK ELC hour time block. VWG2N to be pre-empty for tonight due to the timing of the match. However, RDK TV Silumcast of it was already pre-empty due to 24EH special in evening programming.
We begin with the top story from Altronic City, as it's the final day of Troni Prom Neotrocant 1000.8, TDE 2002, 2025, EY 1025 being held at Troniplex Center in Altronic City. Tronica after event gets extended from 0's day being last Tuesday 20th to 5's day being today after popular demand and record turnout.
This is the special is on now on ATR Newsnet, on the final day, also Silumcast on TD Newsmill, and Omni Newsnet, plus Tronic Diamond Television Service since 800 Kiatrocants, 1512 RDK ELC and 012 KBTS. As the theme is tropical as always, same theme as with the Kanbor Prom event and the upcoming Elito Prom event at start of next month.
We are joined with RDK Newsline correspondent Alex EZT Crypter, reporting live at Prom Central at Trony Multiplex Central in Altronic City.
Yes. Thank God for the music change. This is the fellows are dancing the night away on the final night of Trony Prom, NTS 1000.8, TDE 2002, being 2025, EY 1025 held in Altronic City as the event kicks off at Choice 70 being main event, translating to 1680 TRX and TDCT, 1648Z, 1248 RDK ELC. This as the televisions are tuned back to the appropriate channels as it was tuned to esports match and Altverse, Vitality Vera Smooth since Crown 6 Joy 5 and Kiatrican / Crown 2.5 or Dozanal / Monero 1.5 tuned to Arrow, Delito GRESP, ETR GRESP, TDESP and Trony Explosive Vision through TD Vision cable TV service. This is the event to end at 0 Kiatricans, 0000Z, 2000 hours RDK ELC, then it to be Elite Cities turn to host. On eve of Zeta TDE 2002.
We do want to apologize to interrupt as we have received word of Code ARD, Aerovision Simulcasting RDK TV, as we want to welcome to the viewers of Aerovision, as we must pass you a programming notice to those at Aero, as we have received updated memo from Aero producer Chris Aero Lima. This is it states that Aerovision is no longer showcasing the said match of Vitality and was this after some third-party auto-censor just before halftime via our 8664 feed. This after the esports fan said the profanity as he said the F-word rant toward the player and/or team is determined from the source feed.
The remark cannot be shown on television on profanity and slurs in accordance to ELRTC and TDTCA broadcast code. As a result, in addition to Aero's policy, the match to be moved to Aero's streaming channel Aero Breeze as the RDK TV Simulcast to continue to Aero News 5 o'clock, then return at 2000 RDK ELC since Aero cannot Simulcast RDK TV due to Simulcast of Alito News 24 Deckmill 24EH in 2-hour special as told from Alito News 24 Deckmill Head of Operations in which to air AN X24 as per request by ABM and INMC.
Yup. The whirlpool was quite strong as it pulled me underwater as I to swim away from hazard and head to calmer waters, as I have to swim to the dock. What? I must have to take a better look at the sign on the right of main entrance of RDK TSR HQ. I do note. This as I do recall in the prior weeks, my friend abused Casper at the hospital, despite my warnings, as he gets barred indefinitely from the complex, and gets punishment from judge when in court. I do learn from news report, he's out of the hospital back at the complex. I must have to head to visitor parking and pay them a visit. I am Mark X Cryptor, Mark Zarkshaw, Evie. Raymond Danzian, what consist of the gift for Casper? Mark, it's a rubber bracelet, with word, Casper on it.
Oh my god. I really wanted it, as the rest of the squad does have it given by Scott. Yes, this is my uncle Mickey Daniels' sister Tiffany makes those for me.
Yes, Scott Daniels, this is it's a must for him, as I Mickey D. Cryptor, Mickey Daniels, Shaker hold on to it for now as I to give it to Organi then to give to Casper. Who is Organi?
It is me, Organi Skumkastan, father of Hydrox and Casper.
I am Raymond Danzian.
Oh, this is I do note of the bracelet for Casper. I and he would like to thank you for the splendid gift, as he to be wearing it on. Then Hydrox to be driving the Hydro Swift 2 across Alito Plaza Center, as we to head to Sports Bar, the Blitz, due to soccer match to begin at 3 o'clock p.m.
3 o'clock? This toward the next hour. Who is the team's party picketing in soccer match and where? I Mickey must explain, Elite City Firestorm vs Alito College Wizards FC, to be held at Zendome. Yes, Shaker, as I slacker, Max SD Cryptor must note, coverage on Alito Sports 2 and on Alito Sports Radio also RDK-TSR Radio Service 3. What is RDK-TSR Radio Service 3? Devoted to sports, as RDK-TSR Radio Service 2 is devoted to music otherwise to broadcast some esports matches. RDK-TSR Radio Service 1 is devoted to news, information, and talk.
Raymond, here's for you.
Oh, thank you Organi.
It's a headband with wording furry pride on front and a heart.
Anyhow I do note, the squad is quite droopy and need a change up.
Oh dear, as I Organi do note, the squad is due for Operation Bumblebee.
Now, I do note, the matches in the ELG Game Jam TDESPA Razzle Dazzle tournament in the playoffs, as I have since followed the tournaments closely. Is Team R3T in it? No, because the team is not in tournament as they opted out of participation. This as I must check the esports playoffs as there's 4 groups, of 12 teams per group, double elimination, 8 in upper, 4 in lower, this as the 3 per group, 12 in total advance to the knockouts. Anyhow concerning the said handband, even though I do like what's on it. I don't like the color of the headband, as today is the 29th, as the off day was on the 25th. Since the Vitality win in Alt vs Esports in Counter-Strike 2, the team inspired to it, Viteotis.pro, even though G64 Esports sends them to the lower bracket. Only for a rematch in lower round 3 on 30th, no wonder Viteotis.pro made it to lower bracket 3rd round. This is I query result of other matches as I need to catch up as I check my pocket mate. As I said, break on 25th. This is first 2 matches on May 23rd, 2025. X Gaming vs Ry.E Sports Club and Cloud Deck vs Tronic Galaxy started at 3 o'clock p.m. hour just 12 minutes apart. 800 KTS and 3 o'clock. It was quite contested, ending in 3-2 match scores for Cloud Deck and X Gaming. Cloud Deck competes today as they advance in Alphas on Upper, against Spinel City dos Enels, 800 Kiatrokants, 3:12 p.m., while X Gaming takes on against Elite City Galaxy, straight at 3 o'clock p.m., 1500 hours, and 0 seconds, 79.1 EMT, and 66 Kino Choice, 1900 TRX and 0 Decions on Thursday, May 29, 2025 and Biatas, Epsilon 27th, Elite Year EY 1025, ED 148 this being same time as with soccer match of Elite City Firestorm and ECT Lancers FC, as I check my phone, and checking time in other systems, midnight Canberra Standard Time, 12 o'clock AM, 0000 hours KBTS, Surfdata. Formerly as Finita, 30th of Gumbalin, Canberra or Kb.P 20 or Friday May 30th, 2025 and Kalaki/Crown 0, Dozenal /Minero 0, second 0 after Kalaki 9 Dozenal 59 or 4 DOS L, being 4B, second 143 or L DOS L being double B. Canbordian Spinelian duodecimal/dozenal time as I set duodecimal/dozenal mode of A and B of DEC in L, 10 and 11 part of omnidigit system, on day 2 DOS or 20 of 3rd month of Canber Spinel DOS a year Grove 2 DOS DEC being 1 2 A being 178 in base 10 on as a Ferodia. Semana DOS or 12 toward Semana DOS 1 or 13, on eve of new dozen Semana being dozen hex week being 12 hex week period of 6 DOS or 72 days, 3 mesas, 2 Ry.E DOS months as a Ry.E DOS month is 36 days, Mesa is 24 days as the said match also occurs on our DOS 7 Ry.E DOS time type H. 96 DOS Ry.E DOS time type D on Courtesan DOS L, 1B, 23, Ry.DZY 4 DOS 7, or 55, Ry.E week DOS DEC, 1A, 22, and Quasan Courtesol 35th, Ry.E 65, 23890 RMD, Pentadetri as I signed day, Bravo Prerex 29th, Tx.Y 25, and 1 mil 879 MTS, 2002/148. 9's day Beta E Epsilon 27th, TDE 2002 at 791 Kiotrokins, 791,666.66 Trokins, this 48 hours after start of Charlie 988 CJE, this to start off Korhada-Pian Pride Fest this as they give a head start on Pride Month as June 2025 and Zeta EY 1025 is Pride Month. As I review my calendar on key events throughout June. 24 hours of Ry.E on 1st also Alito Prom 2025, EY 1025. D-Day on 6th. Eid al-Adha on or around 7th. Full Moon on 11th. Father's Day on 15th. Juneteenth and New J Trokant NTS 1000.9 on 19th. Summer begins on 20th. New Hex Trimester Second Trimester of 1004 XE and Tronic Legacy New Year for 2742 ATRE on 21st. Start of Final Quarter of 684 KE in Kaysarian on 23rd. Islamic New Year on or around 27th meaning Operation Safe Islam campaign against Islamophobia meaning crackdowns against going blitz against Muslims regarding attacks, threats, pranks, nuisances, horn blasters, and other annoyances even loud music outside the mosque from vehicle. New Korhada-Pian long yard of 301 and short yard of 1204 on 28th and Delta 988 CJE plus CJMY 361.2. The mosque have zero tolerance on subjects regarding NYE Korhada-Pian that disrupts Islamic New Year services as it to yield arrests by elite city police if done so. Plus the half-year fest at end of month toward July and Jeddah. This is the Islamic Mosque in Elite City Al Arabi Arabs Hialito Islamic Mosque, does now have the video surveillance cameras upgraded, same goes for the Jewish synagogue, Elite City Temple Ahavit Ilitaham Synagogue Jewish Center also at the church I attend every Sunday morning for Mass. Elite City First Baptist Christian Catholic Church, also RDK 3000 TriStar HQ and Alito Plaza Center 2, as my car is now at Alito Plaza Center parking, previously at RDK TSR Visitor Parking.
Raymond, what you said in relation of Korjatopian New Year in short and long, and Islamic New Year of 1447 AH, in which some may say to start on the 27th, as the astronomical new moon in June 25th at 10:31 UTC, or 6:31 in the morning, it could occur on the 26th. As it to be a first visible crescent since the new moon unobstructed by clouds, or wildfire smoke, possibly evening on 26th since the Islamic day occurs on sundown as the sundown on 26th and 27th also 25th being before 8:45 p.m. and after 8:40, as I am Andrew Swiftsir. As this month's new moon occurred last Tuesday at 3:02 Universal Time, last Monday evening after 11 o'clock p.m. as Dhul Hijjah 1446 AH occurred just yesterday as we are in second day of it, this is you should note, Arafah on 5th, Eid al-Adha on 6th, being 10th on Islamic. 3 days of Tashriq on 7th to 9th, as the Hajj pilgrimage occurs between June 4th to 8th being 8th and 13th day of said lunar month, as you should note first biatricant of Dhul Hijjah 1446 AH to be special days.
Dual Hijja 1446 AH start sundown on May 27, 2025 toward May 28. This is sunset in Elite City occurred on Tuesday 27th before 8:30 p.m. and Choi 2 on Priorities Epsilon 26th, EY 1025 ED 147, as the Islamic Day occurs just 2 to 3 Chois after New Grand/Universal Day. This is tonight's sundown occurs a minute before 8:30, after Choi 2 Cron 0.5.
This for the remainder of the show after next segment or two. We to be broadcasting live at the RDK Arena, however we to head to one area in which that is spotlight of Alito Prom 2025. EY 1025 is we to take a quickest route through RDK 3000 TriStar and Ta would exit RDK TSRGR then head west to second floor to one of the prom rooms that is GR tropical themed.
This as we at VWGTG head there as we have the on-field production crew already on site as we to report there in a few.
In the meantime, here is Mark.E Cryptor and Chris K Cryptor as they to take over until we are ready at the said area. Yes, in addition, the subject to be featured on RDK 3000 TriStar Today Blitz and report coming up at 1524 RDK ELC on RDK 3000 TriStar television service. I am Mark.E Cryptor and this is Chris K Cryptor from Studio RDE.
This is the VWGT hosts are off to the said area. However, but first we want to pay attention to what's going on in Electronic City. This is it rang alarm bells at RDK ATR and RDK Newsline. This is since 1428 RDK ELC and 48 seconds. The 5 Cron countdown gets switched on then 72 seconds later. GR Music at Tronic Digi Arena. This as VWGT Newsroom has also received word of it as well.
This is subject to occur at 1436 RDK ELC or 775 Kiotrokins and 0. It could be possible that Cloud Deck and Spinel City Dozinals match to begin 36 minutes early from initial of 1512 or 800, being 012 KBTS 30th Gumbalan Kb.P 20. GR event has started. This at 1436 RDK ELC and 0 seconds, 77.5 EMT and 0, 1860 TRX and 0.
We want to announce the event that has started. This at 1436 RDK ELC and 0. Over in Electronic City at the TRDA. As we have since learned, the esports match gamer battle has started 36 minutes early. This as we learn, Cloud Deck Esports taking on against Spinel City Dozinals, as they are competing in esports match gamer battle in the best of 5. Tronlerant, in replacement of Counter Blitz Striker 2. To repeat, Cloud Deck Esports taking on against Spinel City Dozinals, as they are competing in esports match gamer battle in the best of 5. Tronlerant, in replacement of Counter Blitz Striker 2. This in upper bracket final of Alpha Zone of ELG Game Jam TDESPA Razzle Dazzle tournament in group stage. The match is on now on Alito G-Resp 3 and RDK G-Resp Omega. For viewers on Trony Explosivision, it to be on said network soon as we must pass you a programming alert for those on Trony Explosivision, as today's Cilium cast of BWGT on Trony Explosivision needs to conclude this as Tronic Diamine Television Network is requesting Trony Explosivision to Ciliumcast the esports match of Cloud Deck and Spinel City Dozinals in next few moments via Ciliumcast of TD/ESP.
To repeat, today's Cilium cast of VWGT on Trony Explosivision needs to conclude this as Tronic Diamond Television Network is requesting Trony Explosivision to Cilium cast the esports match of Cloud Deck and Spinel City Dozinals in next few moments via Cilium cast of TD/ESP. VWG2 and Cilium cast to be preempted on Trony Explosivizen as the show to return tomorrow.
We must bring up additional programming notices to Aero Breeze, KBESP Deck, Aero ESP Net and Ion Neo GR Vision. This is for Aero Breeze. We have since learned that VWGT extra episode needs to conclude. Raz Daz 64, Raymond Dan Zion?
Yes, Mark Blake.
Has told Aero to be advised, not only there's esports at 3 o'clock and 3:12 p.m., there is also a soccer match to occur at 3 o'clock, Elite City Firestorm and Alito College Wizards Football Club at Zen Dome. Also the two Kanbor HNM subjects. One is in next 24 hours and 22 minutes being Happy New Month plus dozen Hex Week in Kanbor Spinel Dozinal of second dozen Hex Week and fourth Mesa of Kanbordian Spinely and Duodecimal Dozinal year of KB.SDY. 1-2A. Grove 2 dozen deck or 178 in which based in RDK TSR's Ry.E scripters system also third Kanbor Ry.E DOS month occurring tomorrow at 3. And the 124 hours after that being the arrival of JCon Kanbor year KB.P 20 corresponding to June 2025 or Zeta EY 1025. On May 31st 2025 at 1500 hours, 3 o'clock p.m. 79.1 EMT, 1900 TRX on Quad-Diz, Epsilon 29, EY 1025, ED 150.
I do learn of subject, thank God, no matches on 31st for Razzle Dazzle tournament playoffs. Anyhow, third Kanbor Ry.E DOS month. Where is Ry.E Scripter, and his Collegio Trexer? Are they at Alito GR Bar or Alito DG Arena?
No, they are at RDK 3000 TriStar Main HQ. I have seen them from lounge area of Alito Plaza Center. They are at lobby at RDK 3000 TriStar Main HQ at front entrance. He is visiting for the weekend, as Ry.E had departed Gaia Land in past hours for visit in appreciation of Autosport event this weekend, 24 hours of Ry.E.
When does it gets held?
This Saturday, at 2 o'clock p.m., 60 minutes prior to HNM Kanbordi.
And where?
Ry.E Speedway, Ry.E City, Ryopia, 40 kilometers, 100 Kina Nitro Drive to north from Elite City, Federal District, Elitopia.
In the VIP preview weekend. I am Chris Aero Elita from Aero MCA at ETXTM in Elite City. While Derek V. Crypter does it via slides, I to verbally say it in audio continuity. Aerovision programming notice, VWGT episode needs to conclude. This is VWGT hosts has been reassigned to cover for Alito GRESP as Alito GRESP has requested Aero Asylum cast the match, Elite City Galaxy, and X Gaming to occur at 3 via game day live today to begin in a moment. This is due to record in stats of ECG and XGM, to be heated and contested, VWG2 to be preempted, in addition to match 2 of Ry.E City DGX and Aerostar Synergy to occur at 8 o'clock p.m. Elite City and Aerostar. The show to return tomorrow. VWGT is a production of Aero, an Aero Telestudios production, a subsidiary of Petrasi DZ Trinity, a division of Elitotronics Telemedia, with assistance and contributions from INMC and ABM. Produced in association with Elitotronics Telemedia. Distributed by Jinx Media, INMC, ABM, KBMK, Neoya Nictrona Media, Trex Media Synergy, and RDK TVSP. CR 2025, EY 1025, NTS 1000.8, TDE 2002, AUY 1000, NIY 400, Tx.Y 25, Ry.E 65, Kp 20, KSD 12 in decimal, 178 in decimal, all rights reserved. Can the momentum continue toward map 2 in Omega Strike? The map name is Kanbor Fury, as all is go for map 2. This is VITAOIDAS.Pro leads 1-0 against G64 Esports. The buy phase has concluded as they await the countdown to map 2, as the countdown gets shown on the mega video monitor above me as the spectators are hyped. Not to New Mesa but to map 2 start to avoid confusion. Less than 20 seconds to map 2 start, compared to 90 seconds to New Mesa on Kb.SDY at 4th Mesa KSD12A and DAS Hex Week 2. For some reason, someone playing countdown music at Gamer Lounge Alpha Bravo and Charlie to New Mesa that can be heard at the EDA. 3, 2, 1. Game on. Get into the game. Map 2 gets underway. This is Michael Agues are commentating for Alito GRESP. This is the esports match. Gamer battle gets hyped as we are toward into final minute to New Mesa on Kb.SDY. As this occurs just 24 hours toward start of Jacan month Kb.P 20 corresponding to June 2025 or Zeta EY 1025, in which the ELG Game Jam and TDESPA matches will not occur thanks to HNM KanborZeven break. Quite a play, as it sure gets the Fury toward the final minute to final Desi nude. This is no matches tonight due to HNM Ry.E and Trex as well. This explains the other 3 matches gets held in morning. This is tomorrow. There is to be a meet and greet and LAN party to be held at the EDA to be featured on VWGT and VWG2 and as the 24 hours of Ry.E to be shown on Aero Breeze only within Aero platforms. This is its 4v4. The person from VITAOElitis.pro just deployed the bomb at Site Alpha. Wait a minute. Is one of the G64 player counting down, as with the 2 substitutes? Have he noted the clock, countdown music, or the element in game? This is one fellow from RDK 3000 TriStar rushes to esports admin who was part of Elite City Galaxy, Thunder, Chris T.E. Cryptor. Now entire G64 gets involved. Oh my god, oh my god, oh my freaking god. G64 esports over celebrating, entire roster involved, hidden Easter egg appeared in one map as it said Happy New Month KanborZeven Spinelian duodecimal 4th Mesa KB.SDY 12Z being 128 or 178, and the Nye audibles. VITAO tried to impose game pause but overridden by the Easter egg, like. Player and substitute not competing over celebrating has set off the tornado alarm in celebration. G64 over celebrating as they jump out of gaming chairs as it triggered confetti here at EDA, and subjects as they over celebrate as they rush to emergency exit and bring it outside. The esports admin has made the call, the match is forfeit as it's game over. G64 esports is disqualified as VITAOElitis.pro is winner by default. Not only they sound the tornado alarm in which was silenced, they sound the fire alarm at the D6 and lockdown alarm at Canberra Telemedia Elitopian Bureau and Lever at RDK 3000 TriStar main HQ for roll call alarm. Now Aero is simulcasting RDK TV as a result. Yes, Ry.E, as the Trex siren also was abused into as well, but I have toggled all stop remotely as the Trex siren was hushed. Smith? Yes, Mark. Since 8 o'clock p.m. last evening, the G64 Esports headquarters was blown up as the building explodes in Elite City's east side as it collapses onto Alpha River. I do note, Mark, as the Elitopian Coast Guard was notified priorhand as with Elite City Police on road closures. Damn. This even knocks off Elito Toki television and radio off the air for good. The broadcast company in Elite City's east side in Japantown district was also wrecked, as the Blitz Dinosanyan store was also wrecked in west side of Blitz Dinosanuli. Thank God the broadcast station was evacuated and the store closed early to avoid injury. Ichigo Elito Starkip, don't fret, I Scott Elito Starkip learn, new channel and station gets in replacement, Elito Kawaii Television, and Elito Kawaii Radio, owned by Yumi Kumo Esquire as Yumi Kumo being Yum no Kumo meaning Dream Cloud. I do note, it gets launched this morning at 8 o'clock, 9 at night in Tokyo, JST, as kawaii means cute. The language is in Japanese with the said text in Japanese, but there are English and Elitish captions and separate audio for English interpretation. This on the television channel. This is TD Alarm NELP, EBAS, regarding Elitopian, and Tronic Diamond Public Emergency Alert System gets to use the J-Alert and the SHK, NHK Earthquake Warning style chimes, then the default alert tone, even news flashes use the SHK/NHK style news flash stings. I Smith ETR Crypter wonder how it sounds. I can't get to play it on my device.
Scott ESK Crypter. Scott Elito Starkit. Do not, repeat, do not play it at this area. You will trigger the RDK TSR Alerter Deluxe 3000 emergency alert as that will result in false alarm and you would face suspension from work if you do.
Eep. Who said that?
Me, Chris K. Crypter. Jakur, Chris Kaistar.
I'm Mark.E Crypter, Mark.E. Mark Elitastar must advise for you Scott ESK, that it is advised to play that at the lobby at ground floor. Yes, this is I Smith ETR Crypter to bring you and Ichigo to the elevator, as you Mark ETR to come with me, as we to head to ground floor. I am Mark X Crypter, Eevee, Mark Zarkshaw from RDK 3000 TriStar, as I was going to cover countdown event at EDA but was told to not to enter due to reported code T slated to fire on triple deck on TGM countdown to HNMkin as we had to cut out of Xylem cast of Elito News 24 deck mill immediately as deterrents are shown on feed 2 and 4 in quad view, as auto sensor is just now active on Elito News 24 deck mill and on TVs on Elito Plaza Center. This in which topless female exposed breasts onto chem at triple deck on TGM countdown being AAA, where in Kanbor, Z, Legacy, XXX as XXX refers to subject to porn/sex, 18+, adult, NSFW content as code flag T is invoked. To repeat, code flag T is invoked. And just now, code TE. But off-air on Arrowvision thanks to RDK TV Xylem cast and BWGT cast of RDK Countdown Watch. Oh god, code BT as well, both by Arrow producers, subject on news banner as I learn. Quick programming note, BWGT episode must end due to this as it counts as on-air violation on code BT as RDK TSRT starts now on Arrow and RDK TV. Mark and Chris to be on air at 1500 hours RDK ELC at end of countdown. 60, 59, 58, 57, 56, 55, 54, 53, 52, 51, 50, in dozenal, 41, 40, 3D, 3X, 39, 38, 37, 36, 35, 34, 33, 32. Inalito dozenal, Trayer on Ala, Biadizo, Biadco, Bianubi, Biosai, Biasepta, Biasinksa, Biasinkra, Biacordia, Biatrira, Biavia, Biata, Bianila, Unadizo, Unadco, Unanubi, Inalitish, Tunulo, Prinona, Priocta, Prihepta, Prihexa, Propenta, Priquatro, Critrio, Insplix, Occhi-Quadio, Occhi-Trio, Occhi-Duo, Occhi-One,
52, 53, 54, 55, 56, 57, 58, 59.
Happy New Month Jake and KB.P20. It's the kickoff of Jake and Month of Canberra year KB.P20 as Clock strikes midnight KBTS in Silver City as it's also kickoff of K.B.P and Pride Fest 2025, EY 1025, 988 CJE to kick off Pride Month Fest in Silver City. K.B.P and across K.B.P and Republic to be joined with Ilitopia and Tronic Diamond Union in the forthcoming hours to a day, most to start at Zeta month while a few regional or local ones gets a head start already.
This is fireworks fly at Aligo Sphere, also at RDK Con in Kanbordi City, also across Silver City. Cortopia to kick off JCon and CJ Pride Fest 2025. EY 1025, 988 CJE. KB.P20. However, Shark Alarm turned out confirmed Shark moved the countdown events from the beach to the streets while Okomapians get head at start of H&M Okomo, Rio and Trek. This is June 2025. Zeta EY 1025 and TDE 2002 and JCon KB.P20 March Pride Month devoted for the 2S LGBTQIA+ community. I am Chris K. Crypter, Jakur, Chris Kaistar.
And I am Marky Crypter, Mark Elitastar, broadcasting live and direct from RDK 3000 TriStar RDK Newsline News Center over at RDK 3000 TriStar Main HQ in Elite City. The flatbed of CRZ Beast is not a place for sex, as it's a no-sex zone, this as the duos went onto flatbed of my electric pickup, although the vehicle proximity alarm went off in stage 1. As sentry mode kicks in silent alarm with cameras active and recording in which I forward the footage to the cops as it does not went into stage 2 in which sounds audible voice warning and push notification to phone, or stage 3 in which sounds the music from infotainment speakers. Vehicle alarm and horn in my devices playing strong chord until my dog triggers stage 2 and then stage 3 alarm when she goes onto flatbed of my car trying to stop the duos. The alarm must have get Zion Zaniel's attention. Yes, this as it gets attention to your and my cats, as well as Zion heard the meowing and the alarm then alerted me, as we went to the parking lot, and stopped the duos.
Yes, Mark Zaniels, this is Zion Zaniels even had to blast my impact horn and air horn to the duos as Mark Alito Trekstar gave both horns to me, first used to stop G64 esports from over-celebrating for New Mesa after Alarm Mayhem yesterday, 24 plus hours ago. Afterward after first use, I wonder the contents of the impact horn as I do note, train horns and electric drill, as I disassemble as I do note hose, electric air compressor, as I reassemble and take off the horn, as I note it's a portable DIY air compressor as I bolted on kit. And even ZZ clone and ZZ modify to become the air compressor with auto shut off with battery readout and pressure gauge.
What?
I do saw something in the distance, as I must pull over, believed to originate from Savage City as I to turn down car radio. Definitely a boom, then to turn it back on and tune to another station in appreciation of news flash.
when someone mows his lawn at 10 o'clock at night. I must have to tell him to.
Damn. Person with the lawnmower again at 10 o'clock p.m. 0700 kbts. That is twice in 2 days. This over at 1200 Elitotronics Street, residents across the street. This in the middle of esports practice for tomorrow's match against X Gaming in group stage Elitos on lower final. Shawnee Cryptor, why did you kick him out and getting indefinite ban to him from Complex, being my friend Mitchell Renakop, and will he face same punishment to Elito Plaza Center?
Mitchell was contributing to acts yesterday evening as John told the Mitchell to kill the neighbor, the family, and blow up said house, also destroy a lawnmower and SUV. Mitchell was given a bomb to toss to the residents as with a shotgun in which fired from house across the street being the Renakeps. Then Mitchell ran across the street to destroy vehicle and lawnmower, then went to his car and drove out of Elite City to camp out for night and returned this morning. Head leader Ryan M. Cryptor learns of it and have since called Elite City Police. Mitchell also faced same punishment at the Elito Plaza Center.
I to go outside and talk to him on the matter in Japanese as he speaks Japanese. He was recently moved from Japantown district in Elite City's east side. I have already talked to him, Ichigo Elito Starkip, in Japanese with translator assistance. He used to reside in Mudcup City, Kupnyanershan in early years before 2023, EY 1023, KB.P 18, Ry.E 6 before moving to Elitopia to reside in Elite City. Who are you and how do you know me? I first heard of you when you competed for Blood Red Gaming in Halloween 2022 in which became DG Red Blitz Esports, then folded to what is now as Elite City Galaxy. However, you left the esports team and joined RDK 3000 TriStar as with two of your friends. I am Smith Elito Kanborda, I am 22 and reside in Elite City, was born from KanborD City then moved since 2020, EY 1020 after Tropical Storm Mudcup went blitz to KanborD City as this month is the 5th anniversary. Konnichiwa, what is up? I was doing esports practice last night but was briefly interrupted by lawnmower and house explosion, firearm, and sledgehammer. I had to tell my sister to call the cops on the matter for noise complaint, then to call the cops again via emergency services for other subject including sledgehammer and shooting plus fire department for house fire. I must note on the Elito News 24 Deck Mill news van, as I wonder on the van, as I do note driver of said van.
The van I drive, as I am also producer for Elito News 24 Deck Mill, is the 2025 EY1025 Flex Cyberbus. This is a PHEV version, plug-in hybrid, bi-fuel gas hydrogen series parallel with planetary gearset power split device, ECVT, and 1.8-liter action cycle and a 4-cylinder gasoline engine that is bi-fuel running on hydrogen, also flex fuel running on ethanol. And front-wheel drive. However, I don't want to be bothered as I and the crew to be heading inside after unloading for report on Elito News. Enter for report on event related to Elito Prom 2025, EY1025. There are other drivers in the Cyberbus in different configurations, on one end of curbside parking of Elito Plaza Center, even the camper van, as you should ask them on the subject on the vehicle.
I do note this Cyberbus PHEV as I note in a camper van configuration as I must ask this driver, what powers this thing? 1.6 liter turbo inline 4 flex fuel with generator. with mechanical CVT transmission, but no sport shift but with direct and launch gears with front electric motor powering the vehicle, clutch between electric motor and transmission and one between engine generator and transmission. Both powering the front and 2 electric motors powering the rear. Battery capacity is 42 kWh going up to 160 km plus, and another 800 to 900 km on fuel when on gas, 640 km on propane, 480 on hydrogen and tri-fuel, propane, hydrogen and gasoline ethanol. As it's set to gasoline but I fill it with E100 as the propane and hydrogen tanks are empty as I came back from trip from Ry.E after the 24 hours of Rio as I and 2 others had a camp out then go on vacation. I and 2 others came back today. As for those who won the auto sport race, Zen Racing Sean Arzaniels and David Daniels in number 88, driving the 2025 Flex Z Corsa E Hybrid GT, RZXE. I do note, on the gauges, solar charging, also a solar panel on the roof. Yes, as the sun is bright and high UV index, as it's a few weeks to summer but unseasonally cool today, as the solar panel charges the PHEV battery when stopped otherwise powers the electronics and charges the 12-volt axial ID battery too. Why the shifter on the steering wheel column? I do remember having that in the retro era, including a classic car, with conventional automatics being new at that time. Yes, but only difference for this one is the one electronically controlled, twist up for reverse, twist down for drive or regen mode. In other cars, would be sport mode or manual gear, or lower gear, push in for neutral, push the button on side for park. Push and hold to enable or disable shift lock for turning off the car when in neutral for certain applications, when on level road, or when vehicle needs to be towed for service. It have some nifty features on the Cyber Camper bus, as seats fold down to become a bed. Also when deployed, a cabinet is used with a hidden fridge but is disabled, and a plasma flame gas-less electric range. You know how does a electric plasma lighter work? Yes. This replaces the conventional propane stovetop as I do have a new cooktop stove at my house. It's electric and plasma flame gasless as that replaces a gas stove cooktop, as the gas oven is replaced with electric one, but not coil but plasma flame type. It emits a blue flame. My 2 friends also have the same ones. We also have new appliances since late May 2025, late Epsilon EY 1025. This is I use my electric plasma rechargeable lighter to start a campfire as the PHEV camper van have vehicle to load. As I and my fellows watch some esports as the TV is plugged into the vehicle to load port and adapter as I receive most channels within signal range with dedicated Omni DTV antenna. Which TV? Small high definition 1080p digital television, basic one, not a smart TV. Also receive analog signals but analog terrestrial TV is dead. The one was from 2007, EY 1007 but in good condition. This on a stand with integrated DVD player.
Yes, Mark Iozuli, this is I also carried DVDs since the said TV have the integrated DVD player including JAWS as on the eve of the Alftronican Legacy New Year, on June 20th, it to be 50 years since the film debut.
Yes, Mickey Alito Trex. This is I Mark Blake used to watch the film, as my parents watch the movie when they get the DVD on the 25th anniversary in 2000. EY 1000. However rated T on the Alitopian movie rating being those 13 and older. However was rated GA, guidance advised. Once it first came out to theaters back then. As in current form rated EL 13 however Tronic Diamond is orange, and in KanborZeven KBRS 1316 however we must get out of the said vehicle and head to Alito Plaza Center shortly. The esports match begins in an hour and a half of X Gaming and Bert AOI 2s.pro at 3 o'clock this afternoon as we to head to Alito GR Bar for watch party as it's just them. But I need to give something for brother Raymond Blake however must head to Delta 6 for quick shopping also to chat with my relative K10, Scott Blake.
Yes, as I to get some manga to read.
Oh yes, as I to get the phone holder, caddy mate that fit in the vehicle cup holder as I already have the one for my car but is used by sister Renee vacationing in Zenopalaya in her Camp Irvin in which was my first one same as this I am driving however we must get out our rain gear. Heard from my other sister, Michelle who works at MSE Elite City Bureau, she said there's a good chance of rain as I heard from bro Andrew from Thunderscope, numerous gusty showers coming from northwest, as he recently checked the Doppler radar. But to be moderate and may yield rainfall advisory type S2, green signal. The DSE?
Yes. There's an event to occur at the end of the month, as I do note the subject on locals on the 8th on Alito WX, an event bigger than Tronic Diamond Solar and Metric Millennium, as I called the DSE, to be some multinational soccer tournament being held in Dozenal City and Breeze City, Dozatopolis, as it's the countdown to kickoff, also the watch party.
Where it gets located on the map?
South of Alftronic Republic, being Tronica.
What is time zone and currency?
The currency is duodecimal, being the Dozatopian pound, being worth close to 70 heliocents, nearly 7/10 of an helio, about 2 sickles 75 nuts, and 48 Kanborkoans. The currency is duodecimal. A pound is divided into 12 shillings, 12 pence is a shilling. The region is on UTC, as there is no daylight saving time in forest ever.
Is Dozatopolis strictly duodecimal?
Yes.
What symbols do they use for DEC and L, 10 and 11? A and B, X and E? Ry.E and standard?
Ry.E standard, upside down 2 and 3. This has the measurement system as those of Premel and TGM system. The calendar is also duodecimal but does not use the structure of the Ry.E and Canberra Spinel counterparts nor tracks. There are 12 months in a year, there are 60 weeks in a year, as they use 6-day weeks. One thing is, one month is 24 days, another is 36 days. On leap years, it becomes 62 weeks. The pattern is a 36-24 pattern. Each odd-numbered month is 36 days, even-numbered month is 24 days with exception of 6th month during leap years becoming 36 days. This being 372 days, and the new year in solar around vernal equinox, as the two other calendars consist of day count in duodecimal and the one with 12 month of 36-day pattern.
every hour, on the hour. This is the 24-hour news beat.
Before we discuss further, we want to give attention to what's going on in a VWGT alert, but more being an aero weather alert on a non-esports and non-gaming development that rang alarm to VWGT. The Meteorological Service of Elitopia has upgraded a green rainfall advisory type S to a level 1 rainfall alert type S yellow signal, still in effect until 3:15 p.m. Elite City. To repeat, MSC upgraded the alert level to yellow for rainfall for Elite City Metro and adjacent districts in Central East Elitopia effective until 3:15. This a thunderstorm alert by Tronic Diamond Weather Force and thunderstorm advisory is in effect since 2:24 for Maritus City eastward to Elitopian border to Riosity. Although severe weather is not expected, up to ½ centimeter pea-size hail and wind gusts of 70 km per hour, 42 kN/h is expected, and lightning. Persons must seek refuge inside structure or vehicle with hard top and windows up. For Elitesity, up to 40 mm per hour rainfall rate and wind gust to 60 km/h, being 24 kN/h and 36 kN/h. Mandatory use of headbeams advised. It's the law, otherwise it's a 100 Ry.E fine and 2 points on driver's license. This along a front making way from the northwest. Related alerts in effect to south to Xenopolia east to Xenopolis City, where rainfall advisory and special weather statement is ended for Xenopolis City by Xenopolian Bureau of Meteorology. To the east to Blitz Dino Xenia and Wixa, to the north Teopia, Eritopia and Leonica. We are showing you live what's outside the EDA and EPC, by the Jinx News cameraman. This as, hold on, excuse me. I had to fill in for Raymond Blake for the time being.
VITIOTnews.pro has re-entered Elito Plaza Center to Elito DG Arena via emergency exit to seek refuge from heavy rain. Oh, thunder. We go coverage of VWGT. Okay, great wait. I am Chris T.E. Cryptor, Thunder, Chris Arrow Elita from RDK 3000 TriStar, Andrew James temporary takes over for Raymond Blake, as I to fill in from him. Recapping what Andrew James said, Level 1 rainfall warning in force for Elite City and surrounding areas by the MSE until 15:15 RDK ELC, 40 mm per hour, 24 kN/h rainfall rate, wind gusts to 60 km per hour. 36 kN/h on deck as I check current of versions, including those at Elito College, Elitopian University, and ECT-owned weather stations, and weather stations at Elito Castle. Thunderscope and RDK 3000 TriStar main HQ plus Elito Skywarn storm chasing network sites and over at Elite City International Metropolitan Airport, it has since rain begun to hard and winds quite gusty. We will stay on top of weather situation, as we must pass you some additional notes. Since 1536 RDK ELC, VWGT hosts are on the way via vehicle toward Elito Plaza Center as they are in the Elito GRESP vehicle driven by one VWGT staff member. As I messaged Robert James, he replied, "They have rain gear on, as they are on the way just now as they departed Elito Sphere after report from Watch Party. However, due to the heavy rain and gusty winds, to ensure safe arrival, RDK 3000 TriStar personnel including some of my collages are also there to escort and guidance. This is we will showcase brief 2-minute VWGT cast of Elito WX Elite City feed to inform the viewers in Elite City. For those outside of Elite City, for weather info, on TD Vision and Elito Cable, tune to Elito WX now. However, we must pass you programming notice for the distributors, Jinx Vision, Tronic Explosive Vision, KB.SDY Deck, Arrow ESP.net, Ion Neo GR Vision and Trex Vision 8, unfortunately. The VWGT Xylem cast to end is for Jinx Vision, we hand off to JinxNet Xylem cast to 1700 hours RDK ELC for Jinx News at 5 for weather situation and other news, for Trex Vision 8, Freeze Vision 3 Xylem cast is up next to 1500 hours. As for the rest, esports coverage for X Gaming and VITAO at iuse.pro pre-match is next. This is we also have a programming alert for those on Arrow's streaming channel, Arrow Breeze, VWGT Extra must halt. This is Arrow has received request from Elito GRESP to air Game Day Live today then Game Day Live tonight on the 2 matches today, as VWG2 and Extra on Arrow Breeze is being preempted. To repeat, programming notice for Arrow Breeze, VWGT Extra must halt, this means for RDK GRESP Omega. The Xylumcast must have to halt. To repeat, Xylumcast on RDK GRESP Omega also Elito GRESP News 24. Deck Mill needs to halt due to this. Update to the transport of VWGT hosts. The fellows are being detoured due to heavier traffic than usual in Elite City as travel is slow. Other than the rain, as there is something going on, as there is some esports fans going through all directions in their cars rushing to Elito Plaza Center for 2 subjects. Shelter from rain and to spectate esports at EDA or Elito GR Bar and watch party, meaning higher than usual traffic. Elite City Police en route for traffic control, as we must remind subject on June 30th. 2025 at 2000 hours RDK ELC at the DZSE. It's not a NYE event, this being multinational soccer or association football event at Dozen Stadium, being first matches being watch party over there. I have just told to return to RDK 3000 TriStar main HQ, sorry.
Welcome back to BWGT. I am Mark Blake, brother of Alito G. Resp's Raymond Blake, who's currently reporting at the EDA as we broadcast live at Alito Plaza Center at the foyer in Elite City, Federal District, Alitopia. We are approaching 13 minutes on the clock toward the esports match gamer battle in Alito Zone lower final. X Gaming and Bit.AO it use.pro. The match to occur at top of the hour, as it's a best of 5 in Counter Blitz Striker 2. Since the video game is rated EL16, the said match is only shown on Aero Breeze, within Aero platform, and as always on Alito GRESP. Nice try. Your bra is still on, but you are in violation of Alito Plaza Center clothing policy. Also, you are photobombing on TV. The ushers to escort you to the changing room to put your clothes back on. Take this.
Eat. Ooh. Mark Blake, what this for?
You were trying to do code T stunt, but your bra is still on as I get y'all off camera. The staff is on the way. He said, you will be heading to the female's washroom with clothes you dropped off, as you must get changed and put your clothes back on as clothing is required. No shirt, no shoes, no service. We do want to apologize as the female shown the front to the camera, but she is not semi-nude, as she have her bra on, as the breasts are covered. But I had to get her off camera, and my friend beside gets the staff or usher's attention as he yanked at the call assistance. This while I go assist to get her to the area in particular. We hand off to the secondary substitute host on standby.
I am Jeremy Renatrax from Hardcore TV, sister network of Aero. Now, this is Mark Blake said. There's an esports match to occur once clock strikes 3, X Gaming vs Bit.AO in Alito Zone group stage lower final as they compete in best of 5 in Counter Blitz Striker 2. This is we to detail the maps being competed, being Doom for map 1, Setter for map 2, Bomber for map 3, Corsair for map 4 and Kanbor for map 5. To repeat, the maps where they compete.
You don't want to see this on television. Good thing I stopped the code T act. The camera must move away from the subject in question. Thank you. I am Mark X Cryptor, Evie. Good thing for the mute as we do not want to hear that on air. I am Mark X Cryptor, Evie. Mark Zarkshaw from RDK 3000 TriStar. The second substitute host is now unfit to cover as he said the obscene remark, as he looked at the breasts and said offensive remark. This after topless female tried to expose breasts onto the cam, but I stop it from happening when I go in front of her, as this occurs on 9/4 dozen deck dozen deck, RDZD.D being 1449 RDKELC in 5.2 seconds, this being triple deck act on Ry.E DAWS type D timekeeping. On the clock method being .94 AAA, or .94 triple upside down 2, or in Kanbor Modern, .94 triple Z, whereas in Kanbor Legacy, .94 triple X, in which last 3 digits, triple X refers to subject 18 plus and NSFW regarding adult content and entertainment. Good thing the auto sensor did not kick in, and the third substitute host is on standby as we hand off to him now. That douche. I note her plan. Go up the vent, head to my room, take off Jeremy's clothes, have sex toward 3:28 p.m, as I to counter it, blast off every smart speaker, play some gaming music at loud volume and toggle effects at esports match gamer battle start, to deter the duos having sex. And to get my dog's attention to head to my room as he to stop the duos.
I do note, Steve, anyhow, why are you doing such action at 3 o'clock?
My room is a no-sex zone.
This is the esports match to begin at 3 o'clock as it to be on Alito GRESP. We would have hand off to Raymond Blake, but he is. We do apologize on deterrent on semi-nude female on add-on TV beside.
I am CEO of Alitotronics Telemedia, Linda Alito Swift Star. With this administrative notice, this is you may be aware that the program on the TV on Hardcore TV, Funky Blitz, being mentioned on Aerovision, on the TV next to Alito News 24 Deck Mill correspondent while covering for esports. The scenes showcasing the furries in diaper with the furry diaper haters saying subject that is subject to mute and audio on Hardcore TV then physically attacking them to death that toggles auto censor. In compliance to RDK 3000 TriStar's Casper's Law and since the show gets aired to Aerotopian television channel under ABM affiliations, also in compliance to broadcast law in Aerotopia also as per Alitopian Radio Telecommunications Council and Tronic Diamond Telecommunications Authority, the episode on Hardcore TV needs to halt, and the channel to be suspended, and to Silimcast Aerobreeze, pending outcome, and since it gets mentioned on Aerovision, Virtual World and Gaming Today episode needs to end, in addition to request from Alito GRESP and RDK 3000 TriStar for other purpose, and stern anger from Hardcore TV over Jeremy's acts over sex with female, as they demand VWGT episode to end, and the channel to air RDK 3000 TriStar Today's Silimcast for remainder of afternoon to the 5 o'clock newscast. In the case Hardcore TV gets shut down, then Hardcore TV or Aerobreeze to become Aero as this channel will be Vero Television otherwise would be effective next Monday with launch of Synergy Media. Additional context is via slides. If Hardcore TV gets shut down before 3 o'clock p.m. Elite City, then the operation to begin shortly after Hardcore TV gets shut down. VWGT hosts get reassigned to cover for Alito GRESP for this afternoon's match and this evening's match. The hosts to return tomorrow as VWG2N to be pre-emptied into Silimcast Alito New 24 Deck Mill if Operation Vero gets enforced otherwise AN X24 Silimcast after 5 o'clock newscast then RDK 3000 TriStar Today Prime at 8 o'clock this evening to 10 o'clock newscast. This is Chris Aero Alita is mentioning on subject I verbally said, however a reminder, for coverage of the match. Pre-match report on now on Alito GRESP, and in News and Talk View on Alito News 24 Deck Mill, Chronos and JinxNet. This is it also to be on Aerobreeze in which is in place of Hardcore TV, so we are giving a treat for viewers of said channel. This is one esports player who have support on diapered furries, regression and autism as he was angered on the content aired on Hardcore TV that led to auto-censor and episode axed. And channel suspended. As I learn, also gone for good as Hardcore is just now shut down as it will become Aero, while this channel will become Vero Television by the top of the hour as we will return Vero Television after meeting with the board on reviving the name and brand and to be solely produced by Alitotronics Telemedia while Aero to be still jointly run by ETXTM, ABM and INMC after viewer poll that was ran last week. It seems that the Diancie theme is to be most favored for the return of Vero, as it to be applied to Aero as well, as both to be part of Synergy Media as with 4 networks under Trex Media Synergy, Trex Vision 8, Breeze Vision 3 and the related radio stations, also as per arrangement with Pi 314 International, since some programming from Pi 314 gets featured on Trex Vision 8 and Breeze Vision 3. Also to be featured on overnight programming on Vero and Aero as Trolix TV Alitopia will also be under Synergy Media and Alitotronics Telemedia plus Pi 314 International in joint ownership as under treaty. 2 new channels to launch under Aerotopian Broadcast Media and Ion Neo Media Corporation. Trolix TV Neo Ionica and Trolix TV Aerotopia to launch at 3 o'clock this afternoon as well. This is Patter ZDZ Trinity and Trex Media Synergy to merge to Synergy Media as Chronos will also be part of Synergy Media, as with Chronos Radio, and Alito Trolix Radio 100.0 FM, while Aero Radio will be spun off and to be transferred to RDK 3000 TriStar ownership for launch of RDK 3000 TriStar Radio Service 4 devoted to esports and gaming as the set esports match also to be aired on the station. In addition to RDK GRESP on television with reporting in Newsview on RDK 3000 TriStar Today in which the Silimcast is coming up next on this channel. To be Vero in addition to airing on affiliate RDK 3000 TriStar television service. Followed by Vero News 5 o'clock. Alito News 24 Deck Mill Silimcast of 24 Alitopian hours at 6. Chronos Silimcast at 7 o'clock this evening, and then RDK 3000 TriStar Today Prime at 8. Then Vero News 10 o'clock, then Alito Sports Center at 11 o'clock. Hope you have a splendid afternoon. However, weather update. Rainfall warning level 1 is cancelled for Elite City Metro. Rain has stopped as skies are clearing out as per latest report for MSE since 2:55 p.m.
Two Campbell Labour, 1K and 11, 1K and 10, 1K and 9, 1K and 8, 1K and 7, 1K and 6, 1K and 5, 1K and 2, 1K and 3, 1K and 4, 1K and 9, 0K and 11, 0K and 10, 0K and 9, 0K and 8, 0K and 7, 0K and 6, 0K and 5, 0K and 4, 0K and 3, 0K and 2, 0K and 1.